They keep making them, and I'll keep reviewing them. Skipping forward again to number 28 in my series of video game movie reviews. I was gonna wear my Mortal Kombat shirt for this review, but I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it. Honestly, I'm kind of distressed about the situation. I really like that shirt. Somebody must have stolen it. There's clearly a Mortal Kombat shirt thief in the Nashville area. APB, motherfuckers! APB! Legends: Scorpion's Revenge is a retelling of the original Mortal Kombat story. Again. When I heard about this, I was pretty hyped because I am a huge Mortal Kombat fan and have been following the series since it originally came out in arcades in 1992. I played the shit out of MK 1, 2, and 3 in the arcades. Until this day, I maintain that Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite series, period. I've played all the games, I've seen the movies, the shows, the web series, the old animated movies. So when a new Mortal Kombat movie gets announced, with its headliner being my favorite character, Scorpion no less, I am there day one. Also, the movie does something that Mortal Kombat fans have been requesting out of a Mortal Kombat movie. It's rated R, so it can show all of its blood, guts, and violence that fans have been begging for years. So before even seeing it, this movie has all the ingredients to be an awesome Mortal Kombat movie. So is that what it is? Is this the best, most disgustingly gory, awesome, faithful Mortal Kombat adaptation to date? Kinda, but kinda not. The movie starts out in the right direction and really strong. Having the subtitle Scorpion's Revenge, we are not disappointed in the first 10 minutes of this movie. We see what happened to Scorpion to make him the character that he is in the first game and the series as a whole. It's no secret, Scorpion's family is murdered by Sub-Zero's clan, the Lin Kuei. And the movie does not shy away from that fact in the beginning of this flick. It shows a lot of this happen in all of its violent glory. And honestly, it's pretty fucking cool in those first few minutes of the movie. We see how Scorpion loses his family, and then Sub-Zero kills Scorpion, forcing him to go to hell. Not really hell, he actually goes to Netherrealm, which is kinda like hell, or maybe like a purgatory in the Mortal Kombat universe. But for all intents and purposes, it's hell. While in the Netherrealm, Scorpion simply asks, who the hell's in charge here? They tell him this cat named Quan Chi up on the mountain, so he says, alright, well I wanna go see him. And all the demon bad guys are like, fuck you man, you're not getting up there, you gotta get through all of us, and there's like thousands of us. And Scorpion being the badass he is all like, alright, and that's just what he does. Motherfucker goes ham on all these sons of bitches and cuts them all the fucking shit and makes his way across hell all the way up to the big fucking hell castle to confront Quan Chi. Once there, Quan Chi tells him, hey, you know what? You do a thing for me, I'll do a thing for you. Go to this Mortal Kombat tournament they're about to have and get this key so I can get my boss out and I'll give you back your family and put you back on Earth with them. And Scorpion's all like, well, I guess it's better than hanging out here with all these assholes. Bet. And that's more or less how Scorpion got to the Mortal Kombat tournament. The movie up to this point is pretty entertaining. This takes place in about the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. Now, if you've been a fan of Mortal Kombat for any period of time, you already know this story. The story of how Scorpion became Scorpion is nothing new. There's been a few tweaks and retcons and changes here and there throughout the years, but overall, it's been pretty much the same. This version does go along with the later games version of Scorpion's story. The ones that include Quan Chi. He wasn't in the original games when Scorpion's story was originally told. He didn't come along until that Mortal Kombat slump between part 4 and like Deception. And on a side note, I really fucking hate Quan Chi as a character. I think he's just a fucking piece of shit, useless, generic ass character. He goes against everything Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat characters typically have their own personality, not only in their backstory and their actual personality, but just their look. Their look has a very unique, cool personality unto itself. And all the great Mortal Kombat characters, just, you know by seeing them, that is a Mortal Kombat character. They wouldn't work in any other game. They are Mortal Kombat characters. Quan Chi looks like he could have come out of any late 90s, early 2000s generic ass fighting game. He's a shitty ass character who always wants to be that big dog, but whenever somebody legit ever like steps up to him, he whimpers and tucks tail and runs like a little bitch. And he's just so fucking generic. Now granted, here in this movie, he's not as bad. The performance and what they do with the character, and seeing as how he is in the movie somewhat limited, that's not really true. He's in the movie a good bit, but he doesn't play a huge role throughout it. He's more of just like this douchebag who's just off to the side talking shit every now and then. Yeah, it's pretty much like he is in the game too. So while he's not teetotal shit in this movie like he is in the games, he's still not a great character either. But, you know, he's part of the story now, so there's that. Fucking hate that guy though. He's a fucking terrible character. Anyway, up to this point, the movie's not been disappointing. After all that, we transition over to the tried and true Mortal Kombat main characters, which are, of course, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade. We see how each of them get invited to the tournament, they go meet up on the boat, go to Shang Tsung's island, and Mortal Kombat happens. This is the part of the movie that started to lose me. It's not bad so much as it is just really nothing new at all. In fact, not only is it not new, it's like really reminiscent of the 1995 movie. Now I know that both of them are pulling from the same source material, Mortal Kombat 1, the game. But a lot of the stuff that happened at the tournament here is pulled directly from the 1995 movie, and it was all original stuff for that movie. It was inspired by the game, but it wasn't in the game. A lot of this stuff, like the boat that goes out to the island, and a lot of the imagery and everything in this movie is pulled straight up from 1995's Mortal Kombat. And it goes beyond like callbacks. I'm cool with callbacks, but this is pretty much just like an animated version of that movie. But hey, it's Mortal Kombat. I really like Mortal Kombat, so I stayed on board because let's see what else happens. Let's see what they're going to change up. From here, we are pretty much directly thrust into the fights between our main characters and their opponents. The fighting scenes in this movie are kind of a mixed bag. Unfortunately, a lot of them are our main characters fighting against nameless bad guy number 2. There's a whole bunch of motherfuckers they fight in this movie, but you give no shits about these people that they're fighting. There's parts of the movie where they're fighting like 10, 20 people at once, but every last one of them looks exactly the same. Now, on the flip side of that, when our main characters do actually go up against one of the series' mainstays, one of the characters that we all know and love, one of those characters, like I said earlier, that has that personality that they just exude, these fights are markedly more entertaining than the others. Now, this formula of the main 3 Mortal Kombat characters going from place to place and getting in fight to fight throughout the movie lasts, unfortunately, the vast majority of the runtime. And this was the biggest problem I had with the movie. It's called Scorpion's Revenge. And while yes, Scorpion is in it, especially in the very beginning and the very end, he only pops up here and there in the middle of the movie. After about the first 10 to 15 minutes, the movie totally becomes about Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade. And it goes that way until about the last 5 minutes of the movie when Scorpion shows back up to just be there for the end. I mean, he does show up here or there and do a couple of things throughout the story, but nowhere near as much as I expected in a movie called Scorpion's Revenge. It really seems like someone wanted to tell that Scorpion tale. But then after about that first 15 minutes, somebody else stepped in and said, hey man, you need to throw in some of the other Mortal Kombat characters here. And that's what they did, but they did that for the rest of the fucking movie until the very end. But not only that, they are retelling a story that we all know front to back pretty much exactly the same way. We have seen it told multiple times. There are a few little differences, such as with Kano and the Black Dragon Clan, but beyond that, this is exactly the same story that we have seen for the past 20 or 30 years. And I love me some Mortal Kombat, but fucking hell, man, I can only take this story exactly the same way so many fucking times. I really wish they had continued the way they were going with that first 15 minutes of the movie. Tell that Mortal Kombat 1 story, that's fine, but tell it from Scorpion's perspective. We don't need to know every move that Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade are making. We know what the fuck they're doing. We want to know what Scorpion was doing this whole time. And even after watching this movie, while you get a little bit more insight into what he was doing, I guess, you still don't really know what the fuck he's doing the majority of the time in this movie. So either A, they should have told this movie more from his perspective so we get a fresh perspective on this old story that we all know, or B, they should have cut most of that middle part out and just made this a short film instead. Because as it stands, the movie gets kind of stale and even boring at times in that middle part of the movie, which is the majority of the movie. And that sucks because when this movie's on, it's really on. It's a really good time. But there are long stretches here that just don't live up to the earlier parts of this movie or the series as a whole. I mean, it's not awful or anything, but it's nowhere near as good as the potential it had. So how about that R rating? Does it help out here? I mean, people have been clamoring for an R-rated Mortal Kombat affair for as long as Mortal Kombat has been on the screen. Does this R rating add that little extra something that the Mortal Kombat film franchise has been needing for years? No. Not really. There's blood and guts and it's violent at times, and they say some wordy dirties here or there, but really no, it doesn't really add anything to the movie. There's some cool imagery, especially in the beginning parts of the movie where he's going and slicing people up left and right in a crazy rage, but beyond that, there's not a lot that R rating added to this affair. Going back to what I said a minute ago though, had they continued along the way that they were going in the first 15 minutes of this film, I think that R rating actually could have added something to this film. But as it stands, while the majority of the kills in this movie, you just really don't give a shit about the people that are getting offed, it really just doesn't mean anything to you. I mean, I guess it looks cool, there's fountains of blood and limbs getting chopped off all over the fucking place, but when it doesn't mean anything to you, what does it really mean? The design of the characters here is pretty good. Everything falls in line with the characters and the designs that we know and love. There's slight differences, but you're never gonna be confused as to who's what character. The designs as a whole, the design of the whole entire movie overall, really does look pretty good. The animation is not quite as smooth as I like my animation, but it's not like terrible or anything. I mean, it looks really good, and I don't think anybody's going to be upset with the way that this movie looks overall. The performances, for the most part, are pretty good. They're kind of what you expect from this kind of animated movie. You're not getting like Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke performances here, but what we do get is pretty good. It all fits the tone of the story. There's nothing too over the top that ruins the experience. I mean, everybody here does a fairly good job. There's quite a few callbacks and homages to other Mortal Kombat movies and games in this movie, and I'm cool with that. It's actually kind of entertaining to see those kind of things in movies sometimes, especially from a franchise that is almost 30 years old. But they do at times take some of those callbacks a bit too far. See, a callback or homage or shout out, whatever you want to call it, should usually be just, you know, like one, maybe two times. But there's things in this movie that they include that are just clearly callbacks to other things in the franchise that they just use ad nauseum. Most notably would be the X-ray effect that originated in 2009's reboot Mortal Kombat. In the game, it was really cool. Every now and then you'd do a special move and it would zoom in and show an X-ray of like a bone breaking or something that you did inside the character. It was really brutal and nasty and just really fucking cool every time it did it. And they do that here in this game, and I was cool with it that first time. I was even okay with it that second time. And that third time, I was like, oh, look at that, they did it again. But after the 10th time and I'd already lost count, I was just like, come on, what are you doing? It's things like that where the movie just takes it too far. Yes, it's a neat effect, and in this movie, there's a couple of times they do it that looks pretty cool. But after the 15th time of seeing it in this one movie, you just kind of start to roll your eyes at it. Guys, I know it sounds like I'm really ragging on this movie, and honestly, that is probably because I am such a Mortal Kombat fan, and I had such high hopes for this movie. I mean, it had so many cool things working in its favor that when I saw it, well, no, it's not terrible by any means, but just being so mediocre in so many parts of it just was very disappointing to me. If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, I think that you can find some enjoyment in this movie. I didn't hate the movie. I didn't hate my time with it. I didn't love it either, but I didn't hate it. It's got good animation. It represents the characters that we all know and love fairly well. Some of the fights are actually pretty cool, while others are just okay. The performances are fine, and that first 15 minutes is fucking awesome. And if it had been able to continue on the way that first 15 minutes did, the rating here would be much higher. But as it stands, well, yeah, I think it's worth seeing. I wouldn't recommend running out and buying it, but whenever it comes available on your favorite streaming platform, this one's absolutely worth checking out on Netflix. While I think non-fans could enjoy this movie enough, it's the fans that will enjoy it the most. However, on the flip side of that, it's the fans that I think will be disappointed the most knowing what this movie could have been. So there it is, guys, my review of Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Outworld.
This thing better not go straight to video. On digital and Blu-ray.
I'm pretty sure that Scorpion doesn't utter his iconic line, "Get over here" or "Come here," until like the very end of the movie. I could be wrong, but I'm like 98% sure he didn't say that until the very end of the movie. What the fuck? How do you have a movie about Scorpion where he doesn't say "come here" or "get over here" at some point in the movie until the very fucking end? Really? I mean, you want to throw in all these other things ad nauseum, like X-rays and all this shit from the 95 movie and just all this crap, but you wait until the very end of the movie for him to say "come here" or "get over here." I can't remember which one it was exactly, but you want to wait till then for him to say his iconic line, One fucking time. 25 x-ray shots. One fucking iconic line. What the fuck, man? Priorities.